1 Corinthians 10:31, you're probably familiar with it, right? Whether you eat or drink, do all things for the glory of God. That's the heart posture of, should be everybody here, should be every Christian, again. But what, in the context of our work, right, we look at every conversation, every interaction we have with the clients as being a way to show glory to God. So we submit, of course, to the Lord for holiness, and we look at Romans 6, verses 16 through 18, where he talks about being a slave to sin. And if you're a slave to sin, of course, what is produced of that, but also then says, but you're now a slave to Christ. You're a slave to righteousness now. And so it is this idea that submission, you're either going to be submitted to your sin, and of course we know what that looks like. It's destruction. It's just constantly living into the flesh. It's hurting people. Somebody who is not striving for submission to God, who would work in this position, is going to treat people unfairly. They're going to allow their emotions to dictate what they do with clients. When you get down to it, I mean, humility is probably the primary characteristic that defines the Christian life. Should define the Christian life, right? It kind of defined Christ. I mean, his very existence on earth, from his coming here in the flesh from heaven, right, and being supreme ruler in heaven and earth, decided to come down to a lowly creature to bear our flesh. And then, of course, we know in Philippians, Paul reminds us that he was obedient in the kind of humility passage, right, that we know in Philippians 2. He says he was so humble and obedient that he was obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. So literally everything that Christ did is wrapped in humility. And James 4:6-10 reminds us, of course, that we should strive for humility. And as we strive to submit to God and become humble, of course, we can resist the devil and he will flee from us.